Alright, what's up, Demon Slayer Nation? This is AJ, the Metalhead from Fire from Heaven. Welcome to the Heart of the Dragon podcast. We haven't done an episode in a while, and this episode actually isn't going to be live for a while till my actual new song, Dragonheart, releases. But those of you on my fan club are going to be enjoying this episode for a month before anyone else can listen, so I hope you guys enjoy it and get a lot of value out of it. But today, we're going to talk about my new song, Dragonheart. We can finally talk about it. Finally got the song finished and got it up for you guys, and hopefully you have downloaded it and listened to it. Sadly, the platform my membership is on, it's not like Patreon where you can put the tracks, where you can just play them on there. So that's one kind of annoying thing, but the fun thing about the membership is I can give away free memberships. So, yeah. But, gosh, my glasses are kind of reflecting the light of the camera. That's annoying. But yeah, since my new song Dragonheart is gonna be out May 28th, super excited for that. And not long after that, I have some exciting things to announce. And those of you on my membership, you'll hear about it before anyone else, of course. But today we're going to do like what we did with the last episode. Sorry, there's a train in the background. But we're going to do what we did in the last episode with Heart of the Resilient, one of my songs that basically sparked the idea of this podcast. And this song, Dragonheart, is what kind of sparked the idea to take it a little bit further and talk about fantasy, mythology, and all those like different stories and how we can pull lessons from those. And of course, with a lot of my music, I am writing stories, whether they're my own or inspired by mythology or fantasy. And the purpose of that is to tell stories that teach lessons and help us to grow in our own daily life, and to help us, equip us with the right mindset to fight our demons that we struggle with every day. In another sense, our demons are just whatever we struggle with. I'm not saying there's actual demons. We've been over this. So, like I said, this song's what like sparked the idea of the Heart of the Dragon, Dragonheart. If you didn't figure that out already, it's basically, in some ways, a newer version of my song, The Heart of the Resilient, but it's also like, kind of like what I've adopted with some of my more recent Fire from Heaven songs with the storytelling aspect. The Heart of Resilient, it was more from like a personal perspective, and the Dragonheart takes a third-person storytelling perspective. So there's going to be a lot to talk about. And I'm probably going to have to split this episode up into several parts, because last time my episode was like 45 or something minutes long, and my podcast distributor wouldn't let me upload podcasts that long. So that's annoying. But anyway, so I'm just going to probably have to split that up. So if there's kind of random spots where I stop, I'll try to stop at the right points, like 15 minutes, we'll say. So with this first episode, we're probably not going to get very far. We're going to, here in a minute, we're going to listen to the song, and then we'll maybe start talking about it, or I might just leave it there, and then we'll talk about the song in the next couple episodes, which I'm just going to record it all now. But yeah, so let's see. Before we get started, I wanted to mention an affiliate partner of mine, which I really want them to sponsor one of my episodes someday. So, you guys, go and check out Invader Coffee. This coffee is the best coffee in the world that I've ever tried. Seriously. They air roast their coffee. They take the skin off the coffee beans, and the coffee is so smooth, not so acidic as normal coffees. Doesn't give you the shakes as bad as other coffees. It's really good, and they have some really good organic blends, really dark, and it is the most delicious coffee I've ever tasted. So, definitely check that out. I'm drinking coffee today from a local place because I ran out of Invader coffee. So I'm gonna have to order some, and you need to order some. Order some Invader coffee now. We need to get some people over there using my affiliate partner link so I can be like, hey, you guys want to sponsor one of my episodes? Because that would be next level awesomeness, okay? So, let's see. So, now we are going to play the song Dragonheart, and I'll be back to talk about it.
Greetings, warriors. I am the death metal token. My stories rain down like fire from heaven. This story is not for the faint of heart. It is one about the truth of struggle, the truth of life. If you want to do something great, you must have purpose beyond yourself. If you don't, you will fall. This is the legend of the Dragonheart and his endless struggle against himself. This is where it stops. If I die, I die, but I'm not going down without one last breath.
we'll go ahead and get right into it. This song is Dragon Heart. It's about having the heart of the dragon when facing struggles, resistance. A lot of like what I talked about in my first two episodes about Stephen Pressfield's Do the Work, and he talks about how we will face resistance when pursuing a creative endeavor or just any kind of work in progress, really. And I faced a lot of resistance when creating this song. So, me writing this song, I was really put to the test on the words that I say in this song. So, but you know what? When you're persistent and you just keep getting back up and you keep going, then resistance won't keep you down. It'll be relentless, but if you have a better reason why, and like just this massive reason why to keep going, something beyond yourself, nothing's going to stop you. So, we'll go ahead and get into the lyrics, and for the first part of the song, I do like a quick narrating intro. It's something I kind of adopted in a couple of my songs in my last album, The Evil of Chronicles, and it's something I'm just like something unique that I do, I guess, that a lot of people are really starting to enjoy, and I kind of starting to get the name the death metal Tolkien because of these narrating things. So I want to start incorporating that more. So I even said it in the song, "Greetings, warriors. I am the death metal Tolkien. My stories rain down like fire from heaven. The story is not for the faint of heart. It is one about the truth of struggle, the truth of life. If you want to do something great, you must have purpose beyond yourself." Like that's what I was talking about. If you don't, you will fall. This is a legend of the dragon heart and his endless struggle against himself. This part, just the beginning, where it did, like I said, doing that kind of spoken word introduction. Let's see. I already talked a little bit about that. So, basically, with the narrating part, it's just kind of to give a quick summary of what the song's going to be about, essentially. And from like a songwriting perspective, it's just to build hype and get people excited about the song. Just to give you a quick look into kind of the songwriting aspect, I love doing that sort of thing to get people hyped and build some intensity. So, the next part, this is a tale of a warrior whose heart was forged in fire. Dragon heart, gather around and hear my tale of a man who fought through hell. He fought through hell, tearing strongholds to the ground. He tore strongholds to the ground. So, so when I'm telling this story, some people might see this as kind of like a literal warrior, but there's kind of like that storytelling warrior aspect, but it's more of a metaphor of a war that's going on inside of this man's head. So when I say his heart was forged in fire, I'm not talking about the show Forged in Fire, which is a great show. I mean, he faced struggle after struggle in life, and although at times very challenged to get back up, he did get back up because what he was doing was for something greater than himself, which is also I kind of talked a little bit about it in the beginning, but that part in the intro, it says you must have purpose beyond yourself. So that's kind of what I was talking about, having purpose beyond yourself. When you're trying to do something that you're going to face constant resistance and something that seems like impossible. If you don't have a good reason why, it's not gonna happen. Because when you face that constant struggle, you're just gonna end up giving up because you don't know why or what you're doing it for. So, he had this higher purpose and calling that was more than what people think when someone says they have a dream. So, like, he had this dream, but it's more than a dream, and people will never understand that when you say you have a dream, it's not just for yourself. When you have a dream, that's something people like will never understand, and if you have a good reason why, then that won't affect you. When someone says they have a dream, for this man, it was much more than a dream. It was an obligation because he knew he was given what he had for the purpose of helping someone else. Even if it only impacted one person, it would be worth it to him. With this greater purpose, he was able to see beyond his present struggles and circumstances, which empowered him to keep fighting, and that created resolve, and this is how he tore strongholds down. It was something greater than himself that empowered him to face such adversity. When you're digging deep within your own mind to tear down certain strongholds that your mind has just naturally built over the course of your life when facing certain issues, whether it's abuse or whatever it can be, we develop a lot of strongholds in a sense that are just kind of like barriers where we just shut down and don't want to let anyone pass, and we certainly don't want to go there because it's dark and we don't want to admit that there's that kind of darkness within ourselves. So we'll go to the next part, next couple of lines. From the heart of a coward to the heart of a dragon, people told him he was nothing. Scared of the reflection, but he chose to face it. The problem was not outward, but within. This change of heart from cowardly and fearful thinking to bold thinking, courageous thinking, was this man's big moment. Most of his life he spent under a dark cloud that rained down the words of a painful past and the words of others. He was once vibrant, but after the words kept attacking him relentlessly, he gave in and started believing them. And I think that's a story that a lot of people can relate to. When we're born, we're born with that vibrance, that childlike faith, that dream, that 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 faith to believe the impossible. Basically, you look at a child and just even the Bible talks about having childlike faith, because the faith of a child, it's just like sometimes it's hard to comprehend for us adults who have gone through life and been scarred by this world. So, so he gave in and started believing these words, and that's what happens to a lot of us. We start out in life with that childlike faith, and then the world scars us. After many years of this painful torment, the idea still somewhat lingered in his mind till he finally awakened. After this awakening, he realized it wasn't the words of others he needed to confront, but it was his own. See, that's the thing, like others can spew all these words at us, but it's only when we decide to start telling ourselves these words that it starts to impact us. So he realized it wasn't because these people told him that, it was because he started telling himself that. So, next couple lines. Wielding a two-edged sword, he chose to face the source. His heart was in the gutter, imprisoned by his own thoughts, by his own wants, living for pleasure. He wanted pleasure, he wanted comfort, self-imposed slavery and mediocrity when he held the key to break free. So, again, for so long, he gave in to this idea that many people believe in this day and age especially, and that is to be average. If there is pain but it is still comfortable enough, we choose to sit in mediocrity rather than challenging ourselves and becoming more. Okay, I got my notes here, but I gotta talk about this a little more. The United States especially is so okay with average thinking, average living, that we have become so apathetic and complacent. This is like what needs to change. This idea of if your life's comfortable, then it doesn't need to change. We have so many comforts that many of our ancestors never had. So I was listening to a podcast I like to listen to the other day, and he was talking about how like say like the Spartans, they had they were like there was a lot of war going on, a lot of different times past. There was always this need of staying alive, basically. And this day and age, we don't have to necessarily fight to survive as we did in the past. So because of all of these achievements and stuff that have made us so successful in rising above all these in a sense, like primitive ways of like constantly at war and different things like that, and all these things that have been invented, electricity, all those things that give us so much comfort, we become very complacent and apathetic. And because our lives are comfortable enough, many of us have stopped striving to be excellent. We're adopted this idea of it's okay to be average, but it's not, because if we sit around and continue to live this way, then it's gonna be have the same end result as a communist kind of government, because when you stop challenging yourself, then there's no growth happening, and that just makes room for the evil to kind of sneak in. So, if we don't self-impose some kind of hardship, then that's what happens like with our society, all these people that complain about the smallest, most simple things. So, kind of got off on a rant, but I'm not sure where I was going with that, but I felt the need to share it. Um, like what our culture says, we live comfortable enough, so we choose to sit in mediocrity rather than challenging ourselves and becoming more. This idea is not freedom, it's self-imposed slavery. It is choosing to live in a cage that is never locked only because it is comfortable enough for us and our families. It is average and it is easy. This idea plagues our nation and it needs to be destroyed. If we don't self-impose struggle and challenge ourselves to destroy that idea that average is okay, then we self-impose our own slavery, staying the same when we were meant to become legendary, all in our own way. Next few lines: from an ember to a flame, his heart is burning. Heart of a dragon, he fought through hell to forge it. At his victorious ending, hell will rejoice when he's out of the fight. This line, at his victorious ending, hell will rejoice when he's out of the fight, is a bold statement, right? And I said that because this man has lived in mediocrity for so long, and he decided that this is the kind of man he wants to be. When you make the decision that you want to be something, you have to learn to tell yourself that this is what you're going to be. So, he decided this isn't the kind of man he wants to be. And he refuses to be the 76% of people who lay on their deathbed regretting that they didn't take more chances and stepped outside of their comfort. Their unlocked, self-imposed cage of complacency. That's kind of like that comfort zone is what that cage is, basically. His goal is to remind the devil and his demons that they are defeated and he has found victory in Christ Jesus. So that is that part where at his victorious ending, hell will rejoice when he's out of the fight, because his goal is to do so much for what he believes that hell is afraid every time he gets up in the morning. I think there's a quote somewhere about that I hope to be the kind of man where hell starts to shake whenever I get up in the morning, that kind of thing. Like, that's just his goal of who he wants to be. So let's see, next part. Walking with the flesh of man, but raging fire within, he blazed a trail through the wilderness. So this statement is implying again his change of heart, that although he walks and appears simply a man on the outside, he is inspired. He has become more than he is because of the force that is at work in him. And he was determined to either find a way or make his own way to become who he sees himself becoming. There was no trail to who he is to become, and there never is. So, he blazed a trail to become who he was meant to be, and he continues to blaze that trail every single day. See, this is like another thing I see so often, and it can be in like basically anything, but we're always trying to be like someone else. And when you discover that truth that you're meant to be who you are, you're meant to be the best you, not the best someone else because they're already the best at being themselves, You're meant to be the best at who you are. So learn to embrace that and learn to blaze that trail to become whoever you were meant to be. And like another thing is like, don't obsess over like, oh, I don't know who I was meant to be. None of us know. But that's like the point is, what are you doing to grow? That's how you find out more about yourself, is when you challenge yourself, when you self-impose that struggle. You're not going to grow when you live in that complacency, that comfortable cage, and you don't ever step outside of it. If you want to grow, if you want to discover who that person is that you were meant to be, you have to step outside that cage. Try different things if you don't know something you're passionate about. Some people say, oh, I wish I had the passion you had. Everybody has that passion. You may not know something you might have that kind of passion about, but get out and try different things. Start experimenting. One of my life coaches said this, start fishing. Just testing out different things. If you see something that might be interesting, check it out. There's so many different things you could find interest in, and things that you could, in a way, find something that you're good at, find a hobby, whatever it is. Just experiment with different things, So, let's see, next line. Awaking evil rising, but no one will face it. Standing alone on the battlefield of self. His battle is against himself. No one else can fight this battle. He must endure hell. If left unchallenged, the evil within ourselves will take over. He realized there is no man that can confront the evil in his own mind. So he steps onto the battlefield of self, where he faces himself. A hellish battle that must ensue every single day. And that's not necessarily to say, like, yeah, it is a hellish battle, but it's like, when you actually start breaking those patterns in your mind and facing that selfish self version of yourself that wants to stay comfortable and stay in that comfortable cage, when you start facing that self and fighting it every single day, in a sense, it does become easier in some ways. When you defeat that, like, Stephen Pressfield said it as like the dragon of self, that dragon of resistance. In another sense, they're kind of the same. That self is kind of like a version of resistance that's trying to keep you from pursuing your work in progress. It's that self that wants to just sit on the couch, play some games. I know that's myself anyways. Wants to play some games. Maybe order a pizza instead of cooking something healthy. But the point is, we all have that version of ourself that we must fight every single day. If you don't realize that there's that fight that must be fought every day, then you're going to fall into that complacent, comfortable cage. Next lines. They scream from cages of self-imposed pain. That's that cage I'm talking about. While the door lies open. He refuses to live that way. He won't spend life in a self-imposed cage. This again, going back to the self-imposed cage, as I said, only he has realized the truth, and he has chose to leave this cage. And while he goes through life, there's always circumstances and struggles, no matter where you choose to live, whether inside or outside the cage. You're always going to face circumstances. Those who observe his struggle in life scream at him from their cages that he should give it up because the cage is comfortable, and he should sacrifice this calling so his family can live comfortably in this cage. This, I'm sure, okay, a lot of like, say, people trying to start their own business, whatever, when they have a family and stuff that needs provided for, there are certain things you can do to still provide for your family while pursuing this, whatever it is your calling is, and trying to build a business, whatever it is, just something you can do to where you can live with more freedom and be able to do what you want to do, like what I'm trying to do with everything that I'm doing in life. The biggest thing people will say, your family needs to be able to live comfortably. They need to have all their needs met. We live in the United States of America. No one's needs ever go unmet. Even that of the poor living on the streets. They still have a roof over their head half the time. They have a place to live, a place to sleep. They have plenty of food. There are certain organizations where they can come in and get free food. There can be certain benefits even to homeless people. The idea that their needs aren't being met is BS. None of my family's needs go unmet. There are certain comforts that might be nice, but we confuse comfort with needs. So that is something that the enemy of resistance will use, especially through family members and stuff, when trying to pursue something like what I'm doing with music. They say all the time, like, what about your children in the future? What about taking care of them? The biggest thing that my child is going to need is for her father to see him succeed in what he's doing. Not only that, because then she will know how to succeed in whatever she pursues in life. And I will, whenever I'm doing what I love, I will be more present and I will be a better father than who I would be if I was to pursue some other job that's just a quick paycheck. The idea that of going to something that's just going to give you a quick paycheck, that you give you results right away, it's lazy in a sense, because this takes more work. What I'm doing with the music, it takes more work. Yeah, it doesn't give you a check right away. That's the whole point. It's something worth working for, and it's going to pay off in the end. And just because you have that check every week or whatever, it's basically just like our society. It's very consumer based. Give me it, I want it now. Give me now. Meh, meh, meh. You need to do this so you can give your family a house now, rather than waiting in the future when you can give them a better house, have a more stable career that isn't dependent on someone else, which makes your family dependent on someone else. I'm going to just stop myself right there before I use up more time. But the whole point of this is, when you're facing resistance, people will use that against you. So are you prepared for it? Do you have a good reason why? If you don't, you won't be prepared for it. And let's see, I gotta find where it was. So, like, here's the thing, another thing. These people that are screaming at me from their complacent cages, yeah, they're living in comfort, but they still face the same circumstances and struggles we do every day, only it looks different on the outside. They're still living in a cage. No matter how big it is, they're still living in a cage. These people also spend their days complaining, and when they are finally caught off guard, and the devil locks the door to their cages, which those doors will be locked one day. That's the thing about these cages. They remain unlocked for a good majority of our life. At the end, it'll be locked. It'll be sealed. You'll be stuck with the choices you made freely. That cage wasn't locked your entire life. They scream out and say, "There's no God. If there was, why am I locked here? Why didn't he save me?" This man has seen it over and over. Look it up. What is the average percent of people who regret not taking any chances and living their life dangerously rather than playing it safe? Look it up. I mentioned it earlier, 76%. This is what I'm talking about. At the end of your life, what is left behind is sealed and you can't change it. What will be said when you die? You had a master's degree and worked all the time but never really knew your wife, kids, or family. You never really gave to help other causes beyond yourself despite your fortune, which was only kept as long as you kept working 12-hour days because you lived a high standard of living. If you were going to live in a cage, it would be the most comfortable cage and it would be bigger than all the others, but it was still a cage. what is left behind can't be changed. At the end of your life, when you're on your deathbed, what will you say? What will you think? Will you be like, why didn't I do this or that or this or that? Boo hoo, anyway. Or will you be like, I gave it all. I left everything on your table. I am leaving this world having gave everything that I had for something beyond myself. This is how this man is thinking, is after observing all thousands and thousands and thousands of people on their deathbed living in regret just before they face their own death, regretting that they played life safe. He doesn't want to be this person. He doesn't want to die like that. He wants to die with a smile on his face and ready. Next lines, he must break free or die trying. This is how he sees it. He must break free or die trying. He must break out of this cage or die trying. And not the cage I was talking about that's open. It's just like, not even the cage. Just break free or die trying. Breaking free of this kind of thinking. Because he's left the cage already. But when you leave that cage, you face constant struggle. Like I was saying, all those other people living in their cages are going to yell and scream at him, make him feel like a horrible person, do all these different things. This is how he has to see it, though, that he has to break free, or he will die trying. If you want to break free, you have to learn to see things at this intensity. This is do or die. This is all or nothing. It's time to make his dream reality. Despite this world of adversity, he will awaken the heart of the dragon. Now, like I said, he observed this process, sorry about that, over and over again because he didn't accept things as they were. That's a massive thing to learn in this life. Don't ever accept things as they are, no matter what it is. Question everything. Don't just accept what you're told. Think. Use your brain. The news is a bunch of propaganda, especially in the United States. Don't just accept everything as it is. Question everything. Think for yourself. And I'm not saying this from any certain side. Either side, either way, either whatever it is. It's think for yourself. Question everything. So when he was questioning everything, he observed and noticed this pattern. He knew he must break free of this type of thinking or he would die trying. He noticed this pattern of every single person that screamed at him to live comfortably and just to accept things as they are were the people who died on their deathbeds with regret. He saw this pattern because he was questioning it. In order to do this, he had to constantly fight his own mind's programming every day and the desire to go back to the cage that was comforting enough. Having the persistence and determination to change his life, he awakened the heart of the dragon, which basically magnified everything he had developed in his mind, his persistence, determination, and multiplied those times 10, becoming the dragon heart. The heart of the dragon. Heart of a dragon, I fought through hell to forge it. At my life's victorious ending, hell will rejoice when I'm out of the fight. So that's kind of the main chorus line again. But I'm saying this as from a first person perspective now. So now this kind of goes into the pre-breakdown line. You've held me down for so long, but I chose not to give up. We have fought and fought, but this is where it stops. If I die, I die, but I'm not going down without one last fight. After endless battles fought, At the end of his life, the dragon heart stands and faces resistance. The resistance says, "You are towards death's door. Stop fighting, give in, go back to your cage, and die in comfort." This is at the end of his life. Whenever he's fought many victorious battles, at the end of his life, resistance is like, just go die in comfort. It's okay to go die in comfort. That's what he's trying to say. This warrior's response, again, is if I die, but I'm not going down without one last fight. And this is not saying he fought to keep from dying. This is saying he refused to return to a cage and die in comfort. His entire life was to do what he was. Wait. So he wanted to live and do what he was born to do, and he did. And he wanted, during the struggle with resistance, this one last struggle, he wanted to die doing what he was born to do, and he did. He died after that one last fight with resistance. After that fight, when he struck down resistance for the last time, he died doing what he knew he was born to do. Is that how you want to die? Or do you want to die on a deathbed of regret? And then the last line is, again, I have the heart of a dragon, your words won't stop it. Heart of a dragon, at my life's ending, I will leave knowing I gave everything. So that is the idea I want to portray with this song, is at the end of your life, leave knowing you gave everything, and you didn't leave a single thing left unsaid, a single thing left undone. And this is how the dragon heart died. This is how he lived and died. At a point in his life, he awakened and realized, you have only one life to live. How will you spend it? Complacent and tolerant? Your comfort is comforting enough so you live with it? Or will you step outside, self-impose your own struggle, your own hardship, and rise above what this world teaches? Rise above what this world says to live average. Rise above that average idea. So the dragon heart is the dragon heart because when he decided to make that change in his life and he decided to expand his thinking, to question everything and to think for himself, and he realized what his passion was and that he could do it. It awakened this heart of fire that nothing could ever stop. So, with this song, I really wanted to encourage everyone to really start thinking and questioning what this world teaches as normal, because what's normal is it's oftentimes not okay. The idea that everyone needs to follow a certain pattern, I don't think it's okay. The idea that you have to do certain things in order to live a successful life, whatever it is, in order to have a good life, whatever people say, there's always a pattern that people say you have to follow. And that's not true. Every person is unique and different. Every person needs to take their own journey, one that they choose to take, as opposed to doing what people tell them to do. Don't believe that. Question everything. Blaze your own trail. And I'm just going to end with that thought. The dragon heart, he questioned what the world deemed normal, and he blazed his own trail. That is how we find true success, is when we decide to find ourselves in our own way. You want to find who you are, who you're meant to be. You have to start questioning what the normal patterns of this world, and you have to step outside of that. Step outside the comfortable cage. Step into who you are. I'm AJ the Metalhead. This is Heart of the Dragon podcast, and I hope you guys got a lot of value out of today's episode. And if you did, be sure to share this around, subscribe on your favorite platform, or follow me. And don't accept things as they are. Question everything. Blaze your own trail. Step out of the comfortable cage and step into who you were meant to be. Stay epic, stay metal.